officials right now.
I definitely want to ask you about the trajectory and what's next in a moment, but first, let's talk about who exactly Yahya Sinwar was. We know he was Hamas's leader in Gaza from 2017. He was named the group's overall leader in August after Hania was killed over the summer. But what do we need to know specifically about Sinwar?
Sure. Well, Yahya Sinwar actually served time in an Israeli jail. So the Israelis know him quite well. He taught himself Hebrew while he was in jail for his Hamas activity. As I understand it, he actually conceived of the plan for the 10/7 attack while he was in jail. And he considered himself to be something of a student of Israeli culture, Israeli history, Israeli politics. He was released in a prisoner swap. There were about 1,000 Israeli prisoners, or rather Hamas prisoners, who were released in exchange for one man who was held captive by Hamas. And in this, his name was Gilad Shalit. He was taken in an operation, I want to say it was 2012, when he was kidnapped, and then he was traded back in 2014. Sinwar was one of the people that was swapped in that trade. And he was able to get out, and he went back into the Gaza Strip and reemerged as a leader of Hamas. And slowly, painstakingly, over 10 years, began to plot out what would become the 10/7 attacks. What's amazing is in Israel, they sort of still kick themselves because he was treated for cancer while he was in that Israeli jail. They gave him that treatment. It was done, it was put on the bill of the Israeli state. And there are a lot of people who say that, well, gosh, that shouldn't have happened. And imagine if they just didn't treat him. But nonetheless, he came out of that, and he's been running the war ever since. He's known, by the way, for his own brutality against a lot of Palestinians, those who've been believed to have been spying on Hamas on behalf of Israel. So he's actually he did engage in a number of extrajudicial killings. But he has really a brutal reputation. And obviously, all of that came to a crashing halt with actually what we learned was actually a surprise to the Israelis. They did not know what they were dealing with when they fell upon him and a handful of other Hamas terrorists earlier today. It was rank and file soldiers that happened to see a number of Hamas fighters. They called in a tank to shoot at this particular building, and when they cleared through the rubble, to their surprise, they found the man who had been the architect of the 10/7 attacks.